Okay, stand. Sure. Okay, got it. Looks like it didn't go through this. Came out all right? It's going okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not quite yet. Jason, hand down your. You give the kids. Jenny, you want to hand out these?
Is it a steady cam? It is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Our audio is live right now, so you know. Okay. And let us for the night is done, and I am far from home. Thanks be to God, the morning light appears. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. 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 The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. 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 The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over.
Maybe the Bronx, I'm not sure, but we'll a little bit later. You know, it should be on tonight around 6. Here it's like, when's it on? Yeah, well, there's going to be a link available online, probably around 7 o'clock tonight. What is it on? Are you going to give it?
All right, it's good to see you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. The storm is passing over, and we are so grateful to have all of you joining us here today. Yay! What a wonderful crowd to join us for the plug-in celebration for the Brooklyn Heights community event. And it is a community event, so how great to see so many of you today. My name is Caroline Koster. I'm one of the founders, by no means the only. There are many of them here today, the founders of this wonderful Brooklyn Heights community fridge. So we want to welcome all of you and thank you for coming. Think back a little bit with me, if you will, to the early days of the pandemic. We were scared to death. We were locked down. We were locked up, masked up. The vaccine wasn't even a glimmer for any of us. We were cheering outside of the windows, but otherwise we didn't have a tremendous community. But the thing about that time is that we saw things out our windows and in our neighborhood. From my windows on Court Street, I saw a man named Doug who salvaged food and set up a pop-up food bank with just a Sharpie that said, really, it's free food, and cardboard boxes. And he was salvaging foods from restaurants and crowds were gathering. And I said, Doug, what can I do? How can I help? And he said, well, clearly we need a fridge. And he helped me understand how important it is for people who are food insecure to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, things that you and I may take for granted. I wasn't the only thing that saw things, the only person that saw things. Reverend Thorne of the First Presbyterian Church of Brooklyn, she saw things too. She saw her food bank swell and grow, and she saw community form around that, and she's going to tell us about that. Yeah. Other neighbors saw things. My friend Jenny, who's going to talk to you, her children were asking her about food justice. And they were asking her about providing for people. And she saw so many volunteers and wondered how that they could help. She had people, but needed a place for them to go. So she's going to talk to you. And James Coster, who's an architect in the neighborhood, he saw a 19th century landmark neighborhood with a 21st century problem of how to deal with a fridge open 24/7 outside. So all these months that we have been thinking about this, we came together on a social media platform. We were strangers to each other on Nextdoor. And during that time, if you remember, people were posting, where do I buy yeast? And where do they have Clorox wipes? And who's jogging in the walking lane with or without a mask? But not us. You know what we were talking about? We were finding common ground. When some people were talking about polarization, we were building community. And we are offering to you today that community in the form of our Brooklyn Heights Community Fridge. We don't ask anyone at our fridge who their parents are. We don't ask them what their demographic is, where they work. We don't ask them how they vote. We don't ask them what they think on issues. Here's what we ask at the Brooklyn Heights Community Fridge. We ask you to take what you need and leave what you don't. That's it. There's no vaccine requirement. There's no education requirement. This is a fridge that was built by neighbors for neighbors. And we are so happy to introduce it to you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to a couple of the people that I mentioned, and we are going to have the kids remind us of our food rules. We don't have many rules, but we have a couple to keep everybody safe. And we've had a beautiful choir performance. Maybe we'll get them to sing again. And then we are going to plug it in, and we're going to see some opportunities for all of you to help us. So welcome, community, and thank you for all of you who have already contributed and all of you who are going to be part of this project going forward. Thank you for all of you. So, before we plug it in, let's talk to some friends, some other founders. Reverend Adrian Thorne is the pastor of the First Presbyterian Church of Brooklyn. I don't think I need to introduce her to too many of you, but she posted a Nextdoor post that brought us all together. So, and let's let her bring us all together today as well.
Hi, good afternoon. So I wore my Holy Spirit red pants for the celebration today. I just have some short remarks. I want you to know a little bit about the history. So in July of 2020, at the height of the pandemic, Darian Knight, a young woman who lives here in the neighborhood, she's the founder of a non-for-profit called Downtown Friendly. Darian works in our church's nursery, and she reached out to ask me about collaborating with the church in creating a friendly fridge for the community. I'd never heard of them, but she sent me videos and articles, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like something we want to do. So what began as Darian's dream quickly became the work of our entire neighborhood, and that's the best part of the story. What started out in this church became the collective work of the people who live here, the people who work here, the people who go to school here, and the people who just pass through here on an ordinary day. And that collective spirit is any pastor's dream, because we all want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, something that lives on beyond us. And what I love about the Brooklyn Heights Community Fridge is that it belongs to the people who made it happen. It was the people of Plymouth Church and the people of the Brooklyn Heights Synagogue. It was families from Packer Collegiate School. It was Jenny Astracan and her army, an army of third graders who wrote me letters saying, you need to get your church to approve this. Do they know that there are hungry people in the world? And I was like, okay. Handwritten letters in pencils with backwards letters and hand-drawn pictures that were very convincing and that got our leadership to say yes. They wrote letters to businesses and restaurant owners. It was Legislative Director Elizabeth Adams who worked with me and connected me with other fridge people like Diane Martins, who encouraged and affirmed our effort. It was Caroline and James Coster writing press releases and designing the beautiful structure that's now a part of our daily lives. It is also every unnamed person who donated materials, who brought their kids out to paint, who came out today, those of you who drop off fresh produce, who cook meals, who follow us on Instagram. It's also the people who just walk by every day and do a double take and go, that's really cool that my neighbors are taking care of one another. So I just want to thank again Darian Knight for her big dream, and thank everyone who helped make that dream real. Darian, do you want to come up as I finish? I love it when a plan comes together. If anyone knows me, I'm always like, what's the plan? So I love it when a plan comes together, but this fridge has taught me that what I really love is I love it when a neighborhood comes together. So God bless you all. Thank you for being here for one another. Darian, this is Darian who came with the idea.
Hi guys, and good afternoon. I'm Darian Knight, the founder of Downtown Friendly, and I guess the co-founder of the Brooklyn Heights Community Fridge. I just want to say thank you so much. I'm not going to cry, but it's really important that we live as a community, and thank you guys so much. Like, the pandemic has showed us that it's really scary times, and if we don't come together and cooperate and see each other as people first and foremost, then we're not going to get anything solved. So thank you immensely, and check out the fridge anytime you can. Sign up for volunteering, and thank you Adrian and Presbyterian members. Thank you Jenny so much. Thank you Caroline for believing in us, and thank you for believing in me. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This will work. Even enthusiasm needs an architect, and we have a great one. James Coster is here to share with us the vision for building, taking architecture and connecting it to this community to help all of you embrace the fridge. And also is going to talk about our wonderful muralists who are not able to be here, but they're here because we can see their beautiful work. Thanks, James.
Good afternoon. I'm James Coster. I'm an architect with a specialty in landmark district renovations. And yes, I brought a few props. By the time I volunteered to construct a shed to provide shelter for this refrigerator, the site had already been chosen, there in front of the manse. And mercifully, the church had already had the foresight to install an outdoor-grade waterproof electric socket so that someday in the future they could actually put a community fridge on that location. So the next challenge is, how do you shelter it so that it can be available 24/7, so that it can be there winter or summer? And if you've seen other community refrigerators, you know that they're often in these kinds of found materials of corrugated metal or corrugated fiberglass or some other kind of found material. But here in New York City's first landmark district, I thought we needed to be a little bit more sensitive to the context and come up with a brown, stony language that seemed to speak more to the neighborhood. So my hope was that in stitching the language of the fridge together with the neighborhood,